Good day. My name is Debbie Gopal. I was inspired to do a video today based on a clip that I saw, which I'll play next. A young lady at a PNM rally displeased with the government who did nothing for her. I wondered, why was she there? Was it blind loyalty to a party? Was it race? Was she just misinformed by a corrupt media owned and operated by the 1%? Was she so purposely bombarded and abused by misinformation that it was easier to blindly follow the PNM instead of analyzing her reality, her living conditions, to trust her inner instinct to recognize she needs to align herself with a political party that will improve her living conditions? Then there was the video with Gary Aboud defending the 1% who owns 70% of the wealth in this country, which is creating the divide between the rich and poor and disseminating middle class, terrified that Philip Alexander may control and stop this inequality backed by corrupt politicians in the media. This inequality is a worldwide phenomenon, really, and we need to stop it in its track. And we need to understand it and demand change from our politicians to create a more equal playing field. I will elaborate after this video.
What has he done, in your tenure? What would be some of the things that you remember? Well, nothing for me. You know, that girl, and then definitely that girl. And then don't come around me corner to look for anything to see anything, but always come to the time election. Then come in. So what will you be telling them when they come this time? You know what I mean? You come on there for you.
Okay, so I'm going to explain why there's a continuation of the divide between the rich and poor, and how, when we're voting, we should consider a government that aligns themselves with growing the middle class, which I think the UNC policies are promoting. The flow of money through an economy is vital for its health, much like blood circulating in a body. When money moves freely, it supports economic growth, job creation, and access to goods and services. This circulation occurs through spending, investment, and government expenditure, creating a cycle that benefits the entire community. So government provides road maintenance, utilities, and transportation systems, healthcare, education, social services, and economic development. One way the government pay for these services is by collecting taxes. Direct taxes like income taxes and indirect taxes like VAT on goods and services. The taxes go back into the economy to stimulate growth and provide the services mentioned. Now, how do taxes affect the poor? Even though poor people don't pay much income taxes, they still pay VAT when they buy things like food, clothes, and other goods, right? That is the same for everyone. But since poor people spend most of their money on basic needs, they feel the tax more than rich people do and have less disposable income to invest. Now, here's the loophole that few politicians or wealthy people speak about. Wealthy people and businesses in particular use legal loopholes to reduce their taxable income. They can write off property taxes, insurance, mortgage interest, and maintenance costs for investments such as real estate. They can then also invest their profit in things like stocks, which give them capital gains over time. In Trinidad and Tobago, there are no taxes on wealth or capital gains. So the rich can use their investments to grow their money without paying paying extra taxes on it. Now, one of the more alarming drains on our resources used by the wealthy and our corrupt politicians are offshore shell companies, which act as conduits for wealth to leave local economies, creating a drain on resources that could otherwise benefit communities. Okay, these entities, existing only on paper, are often established in tax havens like Cayman and Bermuda to avoid paying taxes where the money was earned. When profits are shifted to these offshore accounts, it reduces the funds and taxes available for local investments, job creation, and public services. This practice exacerbates economic inequality as the wealthy exploit legal loopholes to increase their riches while ordinary citizens bear heavier tax burden. The impact is akin to poking holes in a bucket of water. As wealth leaks out, there's less left to nourish the local economic ecosystem, leading to slow growth and fewer opportunities for the general population. We need a government that will reform the tax system and close loopholes that allow the rich to disproportionately benefit from tax breaks. Why didn't Colum Invid do this? Perhaps he has much to benefit from the system. Yeah, so the PNM administration, which has been in governance 53 out of 62 years, has faced numerous corruption allegations, including the Brian Lara Cricket Academy scandal, which cost taxpayers over 1.3 billion and failed yet to meet the ICC standards. Johnny O'Halloran, infamous 10% kickbacks from government contracts during Eric Williams' tenure, Mount Hope Medical Complex construction marred by cost overruns and corruption allegations. Recently, 2.6 billion understatement in revenue in the last budget read by Carl Membert. Deliberate delays in implementing anti-corruption procurement legislation costing an estimated 40 billion over 8 years. This is just to name a few. These scandals have undermined public trust, wasted taxpayer money, and hindered national development efforts, according to critics. Okay. In his autobiography, From Mason Hall to Whitehall, Keith Rowley expressed admiration for socialist figures like Michael Manley and Fidel Castro, raising concerns about the political trajectory he and Stuart Young are charting for Trinidad and Tobago. This ideological alignment is reflected in the PNM government's close ties with Venezuela under Nicolas Maduro's regime, which is backed by Russia and China. Critics argue that these connections have led to questionable economic decisions, such as the Dragon gas field project, which initially promised significant benefits but has largely failed to deliver, leaving the country in a precarious position. Rowley's socialist leanings have sparked intense debate about the potential risk of emulating failed socialist models in the region, particularly given Trinidad and Tobago existing economic challenges and dependence on traditional industries. Allegations of financial impropriety, particularly raised by the opposition, have surrounded Stuart Young's family, particularly through their association with NCB Global Financing. The company profits surged by 650% from 2015 to 2019, while securing approximately 2.5 billion in government-related contracts between 2018 and 2020. Young recused himself from at least 57 cabinet meetings due to potential conflicts of interest, raising questions about why a small institution like NCB was chosen over larger commercial banks. Critics argue that NCB's dual role as lender and arranger for state financing projects allowed it to earn substantial commissions on interest fees, suggesting favoritism and lack of transparency in procurement processes. So, over the past decade, PNM policies have systematically eroded Trinidad and Tobago's middle class, a crucial driver of economic stability and social mobility. This erosion has led to wealth concentration among elites, while ordinary families struggle to own assets or sustain livelihoods. The government's failure to diversify the economy or reduce reliance on traditional sectors like oil and gas has hindered sustainable growth and widened wealth inequality. Economist Thomas Sowell, emphasizing that a strong middle class fosters opportunities for upward mobility and reduces poverty by creating a culture of productivity and investment in education. Without a thriving middle class, there are fewer consumers to sustain businesses and fewer opportunities for people to rise above poverty, leading to societal stagnation and inequality similar to countries with weak middle classes like Brazil or South Africa. The UNC's manifesto emphasizing policies that directly support the middle class, making it a better choice than the PNM for voters concerned about economic stability and upward mobility. The UNC plans to create 50,000 new jobs by diversifying the economy into non-energy sectors like ICT, tourism, and green industries, providing middle-class families with sustainable employment opportunities. Additionally, they aim to expand affordable housing through low-cost mortgages and land for the landless programs, enabling asset ownership and generational wealth. Their focus on education access, including skills training for emerging industries, ensures social mobility and better prospects for middle class children. Unlike the PNM's track record of corruption and economic stagnation, the UNC pledges transparent governance and tax relief policies to ease financial burdens on households by prioritizing job creation, education, and home ownership. The UNC offers a clear path to rebuilding Trinidad and Tobago's shrinking middle class. That being said, one should focus on UNC's policy on taxing capital gains, demand stronger regulations on offshore investment, and anti avoidance legislation for profit sharing. See, my camera's not working, but I hope this information was useful. I urge you to do your own research. If you want more information on why there is a growing divide between the rich and poor and what we can do about it, please subscribe to economist Gary Stevenson's channel on YouTube. And I thank you for your time.